Hey everyone. So here I am, day 8 of my 30-day ideas challenge. So hopefully you're having a great weekend so far. Really hot here. So we have been down at the beach. Did the whole fish and chips thing, which we have not done for a really long time. So that was really nice. But what I thought I'd talk about is astrology. So, any of you guys have been following me for a minute or know me as a person know that I love learning, and I'm constantly kind of immersing myself in new information, new processes, new tools, new modalities. Avril, hi, how are you? So here I am, day 8. So just talking a little bit about astrology. So I was just saying that, any of you guys that know me or been following me for a minute know that that's my thing. I love learning and studying and coming across new pieces of the puzzle, so to speak. So astrology, it's something, considering I'm an Aquarian, my sun sign, which is something that a lot of Aquarians do like. I've never really got into it. I mean, people will say, oh, what's your star sign? And most people know that. And obviously when they say that, they're referencing your sun sign. So as I said, my sun sign is Aquarius. Let me know if you know what your sun sign is. And it's interesting because we know, there's the 12 zodiac signs. And, sometimes, and I used to always say this too, oh, well, you can't generalize. You can't tell me that everyone that was born around that time has those same sorts of traits and attributes, things like that. But what's interesting is because I'm studying this life path astrology, when you start to delve a bit further and you look at, okay, so, obviously looking at the time that you were born, the place that you were born, the date and everything else, you start to sort of map out, okay, so you look at where you are in each of the houses, and it's quite interesting. So, sometimes people will say, well, I'm not really a typical Virgo, but then when you look at their rising sign, their ascendant, and then you look at some of the other pieces in their chart, you start to realize, okay, well, that makes more sense. And it's interesting because everything kind of feeds in with each other and it all kind of correlates. And, it's like, so how in various modalities they'll talk about the elements, so air and water and fire and earth and things like that. And so obviously with the star signs, there is each of the star signs, some will be a fire element, some will be earth, some will be air, and some will be water. And it's interesting because even just that in itself. So for instance, Aquarian is an air sign, even though it's a water bearer in terms of the symbol attached to that zodiac, but air is like thought, mental, social. And then of course you've got things like fire, which the fire sign, like for instance, Aries, and fire's around identity. And then you've got earth, so for instance, like Capricorn or something like that. So earth is kind of, material, tangible, that sort of thing. And then you've got the water element. So a water sign might be like, say, a Cancer. And a Cancerian's more emotional and intuitive and things like that. So, that in itself was something I didn't really know that much of. So even just studying that started to sort of, oh, that makes sense. And then, as I said, when you start to actually then look at the various signs and you look at who it's actually ruled by. So there's 12 different houses. So, for instance, the first sign of the zodiac is actually Aries. It's not Capricorn, even though Capricorn you'll see more in January. Aries is the first sign. And Pisces is actually the 12th sign, or, depending on your various thought systems around that. Some people believe that Aquarius is kind of the last sign. But anyway, yeah, so Aries, as I said, is the first sign. Aries is a fire element. It is ruler of the first house, which, as I said, is around identity and things like that. And it is ruled by the planet Mars. And then when you look at Greg, hi, how are you? You can see a few people there. And then when you actually start to look at Mars, for instance, it's more about sort of taking action and things like that. And Aries is very much an action taker. Like I think of Aries, I've got a few Aries men around me, and I always think of the Aries men as they get shit done. They take action. And so it's interesting to see, and it's funny because as I said, my star sign is an Aquarian, but my ascendant or my rising sign is in Aries. So, you know, even though I've got the air and the thinking capability and capacity and the eccentricity and all of that with the Aquarian and being an individual, and liking the freedom, I do have a lot of Aries there as well, which, as I said, is actually kind of, you know, getting things done, you know, spontaneity, taking action, passionate and things like that. So it's quite interesting. And then, as I said, you know, then you move to, say, the second sign of the zodiac, which is Taurus, and that house is all about, you know, personal resources like money and possessions and material attachments. And then Taurus, I think, is ruled by, what did I say here? Venus, that's right. So, and Venus is all about, you know, when you think of Venus, the goddess, it's about, you know, beauty. So, and it's funny when you think about, and I like to always think about people that I know that have that sun sign. So, you know, I do know, for instance, my dad is a sun sign is a Taurus. And Taurus, it's like, because that Venusian, like the Venus there, they, as I said, like beauty. So, you know, he takes a lot of pride in his garden and things like that. And then, you know, you move through the different other signs. And as I said, it's really interesting studying it because it's just taking on new depths, and I'm sort of understanding things in totally different ways. And when you start then, after you've looked at the various zodiac signs, and then you can start to, as I said, look at the various houses that they fall under, and then who it's ruled by in terms of, as I said, is it, you know, Mars, is it Venus, is it, you know, the sun, because the sun and the moon are treated like planets in astrology. And yeah, it's so interesting. As I said, I'm just really starting to, you know, even things like see how, in terms of manifesting and things like that, if you know where, you know, Mercury and Mars and your, which sign you're in those areas, you can start to see the best way that you can manifest. And it's interesting because my, Mars is Cancer, and Cancer, as I said earlier, is, you know, it's a water element, it's about emotions. So in terms of manifesting, you know, it's like the emotional piece, the feeling. And if you're familiar with metaphysicians like Neville Goddard, he has that book, and he's the one that's kind of made it almost famous, that, you know, feel it real, you know, so it's like you're feeling these things into existence. So as I said, you can really, like, the more that you delve into your chart, so, you know, you can get those done up and find out where everything is, you can really start to see how it can help you in so many areas of your life, in terms of communication, in terms of taking action, in terms of health and wellness, because, you know, the sixth house is about wellness and, you know, the physical and psychological health. So you can sort of see what's going on there, and, you know, which sign is under there. So if you had, you know, I guess Cancer or something in that sixth house there, you know, then you would be thinking as a Cancer, the water sign, you know, emotions. So are you feeling your emotions, or are you suppressing it, repressing it? Because we know that the issues are in the tissues. You suppress, you repress, and consequently, you know, it's going to affect you. It will create disease. So anyway, as I said, I just wanted to share that because it's something that I've been studying for a couple of hours today, and I am working through all the material, and I will be certified in that in a few months. So Beverly, hi, how are you? So I'm just talking a little bit about the life path astrology here, and just as I'm working through the material and it's taking on new depths and I'm understanding it more and more. And so I said I will be offering these life path or life purpose astrology readings. It's so interesting. So as I said, you know, it's not, most people will know their sun sign and they'll be able to say, oh yes, I'm a typical Aquarian, I'm a typical Sagittarian. But when you start looking at, as I said, the ascendant, the rising, and where you sit with all of the other, you know, planets and which zodiac it falls into, gosh, it's so interesting. We can start to really see why things are the way that they are. It's so interesting. I'm loving it. And even just, you know, as I said, in terms of helping us to manifest or to communicate or all of that sort of stuff. So anyway, I said I'll share more and more as I continue working through the material. But I've gone through, you know, I've just been going through all of the different zodiac signs, and as I said, really becoming more familiar with that. And also then, as I said, I've started to work through the sun, the moon, Mars, Mercury, and yeah, so fascinating. So anyway, I said I will share more, but it is something that, as I said, if you feel like, particularly now that we're, really moving into the age of Aquarius, things like astrology sort of starts to, I guess, become bigger as a modality and a process, and things that you'll find that more and more people are getting interested in. And yeah, so anyway, as I said, I will let, it is so interesting, Beverly. I know, I love it. So I was just saying that I'm certifying as a life path astrologer. So Nilva, hi, how are you? I do actually have a sarong on. I'm not totally naked here, so I don't know if you can see, but it was a bit hot. We were just at the beach with the dogs, and anyway, yeah, so that's what I was just saying, that basically it is really fascinating. There's so much more than just your sun sign. If you can work out your ascendant, if you can work out, as I said, like, know exactly where everything is, it will help you immensely in all areas, including health and wellness and well-being, which you guys know I'm all about, holistic health and wellness. So anyway, as I said, if you're interested in finding out more about that, let me know, because I will be doing these life path astrology readings. And of course, with that, we do need to know, obviously, just your date of birth, which I'm sure you all know, but also your time of birth and your place of birth, ideally, because that will really help sort of, pinpoint exactly your chart and the relevance of each of these signs. And yeah, it's, as I said, really, really fascinating stuff. We can work out so much. All right, much love. Have a great weekend, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.